am weak, but God Almighty, hold me with thy powerful hand. Bread of heaven, bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more.
Hubiera sido, sí, porque tiene que estar
A las 6.
Por favor. Dale los antecedentes de la chiquilla. O sea, la dueña la que abusa de su hija. Sí, porque no la quiere controlar. Antes de los 3 meses la niña va a hacer otra cosa y se van a dar cuenta de que esa es niña.
Para venir por acá para Veracruz hay dos rutas rápidas. Por acá, por esta calle de acá, y por la Transísmica. Me imagino que él está tratando de subir la calle.
You can get your dinner fixed right on the table for you.
Benihana.
Whatever you ask for, you go on the first floor. Here have a restaurant. You say you want fried rice, you fix it right. You lay it right into the middle. Sí, pero yo lo experimenté aquí.
Yeah.
All here used to be sea.
Wow.
The corner here used to be the dump plant where they come with all the garbage from the city and dump out. There was a little trail here and everything was water all here. So the arrangement with the canal, with the American, when they dig any place in the canal, they bring it on the scows and they throw it here and make a filling. So we driving on filling land.
Okay. It's like downtown south. South Lamar?
Yes.
The whole downtown. The town is dumped. The sea was all the way up to about even a mile. Yeah, even the church. There was where the church. Yeah, it's
Miami, that's
dumped.
what the rich people side is Miami. They have a dump plant and some just buy the spot and they have a barge, a freaking barge like a house.
Okay.
When we reach into the final of this street, my son used to work here in Control General. When you reach into the end of the street, you will see a building. It was older than them snow. Like a wall, a detention wall to hold up the sea in those times. You know? And they still have a piece here as a relic.
Sounds very something familiar. Because there was a storm.
Take the ferry here.
Boy, you this video, boy. On this big bridge, boy.
That is the part of the ferry ramp. That's the
Allá, siempre se ha quedado ahí.
down here. That's the ferry ramp that used to be
Que
here.
nadie conoció al
West Bank, from East Bank to
que
West
siempre
Bank.
dice que ella iba para la panadería. Mira, a mí quería mi
In those days,
llegó y me encabeza.
black people in have swimming pool, white people had swimming pool in Balboa, segregation, and everything in Panama. We were comfortable in a better place and get fresh food from the American and from the zone, from the army post. But that mountain there, we used to climb that mountain and go to the other side of the mountain to go to the beach.
Okay.
And nearby where they do the regular road, the Americans had Farfan Beach with merry-go-round and things to swing with for children and even a counter with a cafeteria. We only had a shed, not even a toilet, a shed with a concrete flooring, and that was our entertainment. Oh, we were happy and comfortable. My father, Jamaican, he was making $37.50 a month. And the Americans allow you to clean as much as you can. My father had a garden over there by the first lighthouse, where he paid $5 a year every July the 1st. And he had 2 in Corozal when you go by the cemetery. So that is what helped many of the Jamaicans that were here farm. They pay $5 out of whatsoever money they make. Those days you didn't have no retirement. You had a pension. It was charity, I tell my father, because the American had a stipulation and a scale. The people that work for the Americans, they used to save there in the make war bonds and so. So when your body can't go anymore, what do? You have a scale. If you have so much and so much, if you don't have nothing saved with the Americans, you get $25 a month to live on, you know. But in those days, the rent in Panama City was $4 with light and water, but it's a open yard and just 2 toilets for the whole bottom floor and 2 upstairs for the whole top floor and 1 pipe where you wash the dishes and you have just dish pan and this on a little table. So when the people have so much money, they get actually nothing when they retire. I have a teacher. He was a backrock. You know what is a backrock? Backrock Johnny Master child. He white, he looked like a white man. Pretty here, but he's Jamaican born. He was an English teacher. And because of the money he had saved, they was giving him $10 $10 for the month. And he showed a letter. And he made a letter and he read it out in the classroom. Please I accept your $10 and accept your charity, but I return it back to the American Red Cross. He sent it back to them. And we read that letter when I was in school. So afterwards, they start insurance in Panama. And that's why we have insurance and we have retirement, because the Americans start taking a certain amount. But in those days, what happened? I say it was a two-edged sword. They used to do a physical with the workers. It was good that you know your body is good, your blood is good. But then what? Those days was forced labor. A man that used a jackhammer. When he finished, when the Americans see he can't walk no more, they throw him out to Panama. And there was a time when the British Council said, if you won't send these people, send them back with $1,000 per head. Don't send back these people at the table. You have them there, you didn't repatriate them. You know, some people say Arnold Forrest was bad. He had his knowledge, but he worked bad. He abused the West Indians. Because he would take from the West Indian and give up Panamanian, a little hard-earning shop he have or whatsoever he have. You understand? But that physical, I told him my father's a two-edged sword. My father couldn't read and write. What he do? When we have school, all of them go out, man. Everybody going to parent-teacher meeting. Those days, it wasn't that a hard thing to sign an X. Almost everybody was signing X. One day I hold his hand and I show him how to write spit. But how he signed it? He writes snit. But he keep it and he start feeling big and proud because everybody put the next still on. My father put it snit. It's been a spit. But that's all right. God is love. There's so much things, but many of the people that live in those times of segregation don't want to talk. Because many go on to the States and we passed that. That's in the past. Forget about that. I don't even remember that. We live better than people in the Panama to a certain extent. But we couldn't go certain place. After 5, I couldn't go over into Panama from La Boca to Rio. I would have to pay a fine. The policeman trail you with the green hornet. The car was green. I call it green hornet. And he said, where are you going? Hey, you, where are you going? I tell him I go home. I could tell him I go walking looking for mango in a white man land. Because my father would kill me too. I said, I'm going home. You live to Rio. Keep walking. While I walking, I looking. Oh, empty soda bottle. You change 2, you get a nickel. Because the bus fare was a nickel. 5 cents. And then that 5 cents, I pay my bus fare to come back to her. So that the police won't see me walking back. Because the fine would be on me. You could not be seen in a white man area after 5 o'clock. People don't believe this, but this is the life that we live here in Panama. Segregation. This road, if you keep straight, it carries you to Palo Seco. I used to work in Palo Seco where I leprosorium. We have a leprosorium in Palo Seco. This road now, we're going to Veracruz. And that was the only place in Panama that had a coin. Because they didn't know much about the sickness, everything was restricted to the leprosorium. And they even had a cemetery. Now in that cemetery area, they built up a big hotel. What they call Playa Bonita. That was the cemetery for the leprosorium. Once, one of the patients, they used to have a little farm in the bush, brought me a sword. The sword is a Spanish sword. I wanted to buy it from him and give him $5. But you know they like color. He sold it to the nurse for the same $5 and she took it out of the country. When I identified the head of the sword had a Spanish crown, it had a crown. And the shield for the crown, the sword, was embroidered like lace with a lot of work in. I told him, if you can go back to exact spot, there is one of those conquistadores, one of those people that were, you know, the explorers. His body was there where that sword is, because that was a mark. That's how they used to bury. Whoever died on the trail, they put the sword there. He never got, no. And that sword leave the country, but I didn't say anything about it to the government, because maybe I didn't do my job. The gringos used to come in there after 12 with Geiger counter, because there is the only place there was another coin in Panama. It's something like the American coin with a square in the middle. It had an opening in the middle, and that's what they used to shop, because they had a shop, supermarket strictly for the patients. Patient was strictly spending their own coin, their own supermarket. And this Palisade, Dr. Irwis lived on the place, and they used to, some people maybe didn't have leprosy to tell, because one patient said they used to inject them with hot milk in the vein. Then there was a seed they brought from Africa named shamuga, and they would grate that and get the milk out of the shamuga seed and inject the patient, because they didn't really know. But eventually they invented this diazone and sulfone, and that's what the people keep to harass, keep the leprosy under control with diazone and sulfone. So you have a lot of people with leprosy out in the city, but they are outpatients. They don't keep there anymore as a leprosy. The government uses it for a resort for people that come from the interior, that don't have where to stay or don't have the means to pay a hotel. So the family would stay over there at Palisade. So that's as much as the leprosy. About 5 different types of leprosy. 5 different types. The tuberculosis type is the one that eats. And there was a certain patient, worms used to accumulate in his feet, certain dose, supply bonita there. And I used to have to take the worms out, count them, and make a report so the doctor would know how many worms came out of his foot and what period. All different resorts now on this There's a lot of interesting places in Panama if you'd have one to take you. And if you find the time and get out of bed early. Not leaving midday to go and enjoy. You can even go to one, a Pasadena, and when you come out tomorrow morning, you go to another one and spend the day. And it's everything included. But you know you have to pay a certain amount. You don't pay like if you sleep. You just go and enjoy the hotel, enjoy the beach, eat as much as you want, no sleeping, and you go later on in the day to another resort. Panama is really interesting. And many people in Panama don't even know these resorts. Just like we went to Jamaica, we went to Home Garden. My cousin over there didn't know Home Garden. And the Rockford Mineral, you been there? You have different temperature of water there, and you have the mineral baths, yes. And you go to the yellows. You know, many Jamaicans don't know the slang name for these places. Do you know why they call the place Westmoreland? Huh? Do you know why? Because when the explorers were going exploring, someone said, in the west there is more land. So that's where the name comes. In the west there is more land. And you know why they call the place Halfway Tree? Halfway Tree, you know? Between Central Village and Kingston, they have a section they call Halfway Tree. Halfway Tree. Because in the half of the distance from Jamaica, from the city to Spanish Town, there's a little curve there, and there was a big tree. So you call that the halfway tree. You're halfway to Spanish Town. So you learn something about your own country. You say halfway tree. Halfway tree. And many parts of Spanish Town is Spanish name. Understand? And in Westmoreland they say Ocho Rios. It's 8 rivers because the 8 rivers flow in the area. So they must teach that in Jamaica too, where these names come from.
Yes, guys, we are at the beach. Yes, guys, we are at the beach.
And the scout said we was going to have water in full 12 o'clock. Was it 12 to 9?
5 para las 12.
Okay, we'll try coming in.
So what's the name of this?
This is Veracruz.
Veracruz. So the beach, the name of the beach is Veracruz.
You see, these people here on the beach, they don't pay to eat or they carry the picnic bags. You understand? So you look where you can squat. But they don't have the facility for toilet or bathroom. They take the tips and afterward they jump in the car.
Okay.
But where we are seeking is where we can go. We're not parking here. Tell him we're not parking here.
Es que ellos parquearon ahí, ¿por qué se parquearon? ¿A dónde se van a parquear? Ahí arriba. Sí, allá arriba.
Aquí es patrón.
So over there we have Real Marvin.
Where you have shelter. Celso, estamos buscando por allá arriba.
Él no la escucha. Él no la escucha, baje ahí.
Mira,
La ella.
tenemos que buscar donde hay una
Thought you were home.
con techo.
We were on the road
piso y
yesterday.
baño. Esto es patrón por un beneficio.
Allá abajo.
Aquí no hay nada. Allá abajo es donde vamos.
Donde hay una fonda,